Hi everyone, it is Nat from Studio Hacks, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make a trap style hip hop beat in GarageBand for iOS. I'm going to be demonstrating this on my iPhone 8, but it'll work on any of the modern iPhones and iPads. I've had a lot of requests on this channel to do a hip hop beat tutorial on the iPhone. So let's get straight into it. I've just opened up GarageBand on my iPhone, and if you don't have GarageBand, it is a free app. Just go to the App Store, type in GarageBand and download it. I've also downloaded all the extra available sound packs for this, so I suggest you do the same. Let's start a new track from scratch. I'm going to go to My Songs on the top left-hand arrow, and I'm going to go to Create Song. So I'm going to start with the beat, and there are a few ways to make the beat. I'm going to use this drummer tool, which is like an automatic drum creation tool, and going to select electronic, and we can change the drummer profile when we're in this view by clicking on the downward facing arrow on the top left hand corner. And this is the drummer profile here, Leah. So these drummer profiles have different sounds and different genres to them. I'm going to select this trap one down the bottom. For this beat tutorial, I'm going to create a 4-bar build-up introduction and then an 8-bar section, which will be my main beat. So before I start doing anything, I'm going to set that up. I'm going to hit this little plus icon right here, which is the song sections. And I'm going to make sure my first section is just 4 bars long. There we go. I can have a listen through some of the various sound design presets and playing presets hitting this concrete jungle here. This is the default one. I tend to never use the default for anything because a lot of people use the default. These are the different playing profiles. Let's have a listen to Southside, see what that is like. It's created a beat for us via default. Let's try something else. Roll deep. That'll do. For this build-up introduction section, I'm going to disengage the kick drum right here. I'm going to make sure that there's a few less fills. And under this little square here, I'm going to make a fairly simple beat and right down the middle of the loudness. Let's have a listen to this. That'll do for the moment. I'm also going to disengage this percussion. I want it to be really quiet. Now I'm going to add a new section with this plus button, and I'm going to select add, and it's going to create a B section for me, which is 8 bars in length. This is what I want to be the main part of my song. I'm going to muck around with this beat a little bit, so I can hold down where it says kick, snare, and claps and select different profiles. And I can also disengage various drums by just clicking on them. Also defaulted back to this concrete jungle. I'm going to select roll in the deep, try this one. Let's have a listen now. That sounds fine for the moment. Now I'm going to make sure that I can see my entire track that I'm going to be working on by going back to the plus icon and select all sections. That will allow me to see now, if I get out of this view and go to the track view with this little button right here, it'll show me there that there's 2 distinct sections. Right there is my intro and build up, and right there is my main beat. Let's now start to add some more elements. I'm going to hit this plus button right here, and I want to add in a little melodic idea. I'm going to select from the keyboard instrument, and let's go to pads and, oops, I want to go back. I actually wanted to select that Autumn Haze. And as I said, I never like to use the default loadout, so I'm going to select the smart controls here and change this a bit by moving this grid around. Okay, that'll do for the moment. I'm also going to go to the track controls using this icon right here. And under the track controls, I'm going to go down to the bottom and add in some echo. I want to change the type of echo that I've got, so I'm going to click on the master effects, and under the echo menu, I can change the master echo. So I like this dark 8th note echo preset. Let's have a listen to what that sounds like. You can hear it kind of echoes off into the distance. All right, let's record a little bit of that in our track. So I've just recorded 2 bars there. It's just a simple little idea. I've switched out to the track view, and under the track controls, I want to make sure that that is quantized. Because I've got a bit of a lag here connected to my computer, I'm going to lock those in under the track settings and the quantization. I'm going to select straight 16th notes, see if that's locked into a grid. Let's just fix the timing up for me. Great, so I'm going to double click on that and loop that for the whole song. Let's now add in some bass, and I want the bass to come in after the first 4 bars. So I'm going to first of all select a new track, and let's look at the bass instruments that we have here. Let's just go with the classic 808 bass. I'm going to switch this off of glissando to scroll, so I can click and hold down, pop my finger down and change the note. I'm also going to increase the compression on this track so that it cuts through a bit more. And do a bit of a bass boost. Beautiful. All right, let's record a little bass line. I can record a couple of bars anywhere I like. Okay, I like that bit that I did just there. So I'm going to go back to the track view and just trim this to just grab those 2 bars. I'm also going to make sure this is quantized as well by hitting the track controls. Because I'm doing nothing fancy, they're just fairly solid notes. I can just select 1/8 notes here. Let's have a listen to make sure that's locked into the grid. Beautiful, so I'm going to pop that there and loop that so that hits only when the drop happens. Now let's add some extra elements to this, some more melodic elements. I'm going to go more sounds. Let's go for some pad kind of sounds. I kind of like this flex and flow pack, so let's try the autumn haze. And again, I'm going to change the sound to my liking. Okay, that was almost where I wanted it to be, but I did hit a wrong note. So first of all, I'm just going to trim this down to a 2-bar section. I'm going to also quantize this one to 16th notes. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to double click on that and select edit and find that suspicious note and change it manually. There it is there. I think it needed to be 1 note up. Let's go back and check that. There we go, done. So I'm going to have that right from the start and have that throughout the song. Let's just check the balances of these, do a little bit of mixing now. Under the track controls. I'm going to bring the volume of that one down a bit. I'm also going to move this up next to the other one because these are the 2 melodic elements. I'm going to pan one to the left and one to the right a little bit to give this a bit of a stereo image. Beautiful. Okay, now we have a nice track starting to happen. I just want to add a few extra elements to make this really original. So far we've used all sounds from GarageBand. I want to go to an external site and download some ambience. So I've actually already done that from this website here, freesound.org. And this is a totally free website and people upload recordings that they've made. I've spoken a lot about this in previous videos. Make sure you check out my free GarageBand course for iPhone if you're not following a lot of this. If you do that first, this will make this a lot easier. So I've actually found this sound and just downloaded it straight to the Files app on my iPhone. So I can add any file that I've downloaded to the Files app on my iPhone just by hitting the Apple Loops browser right here. And instead of Apple Loops, I just go to Files, and it's this crowd noise right here. I can pop my finger on that and just hold it. And then when I move that around, it's going to allow me to just drag and drop it onto a new track underneath. Let's have a listen. This is just some city ambience that I found. Let's solo that. So that just adds some nice ambience to the track. I'm going to pop some reverb on there and take that off of solo. And I'm going to make that basically a 4-bar loop. I'm going to have that going throughout my track. That just adds something that's really unique to this track. Now the last thing I want to do is just add some kind of vocal effect and also a little build up to that drop. So I'm going to add a new track and select sampler. I'm going to make a really quick vocal chop. I'm just going to say just anything. Yeah, I'll just say yeah. Here we go. I'm going to hit the start button and record a sample. Yeah. Okay, now I can use that as an instrument. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So let's record that in leading up to the drop.
Yeah.
So there we go. If I go back to the track view, you can see there, I've just used that sampler to...
Yeah.
Okay, let's now go to this Apple Loops browser here, see if we can find some kind of a build-up. Instead of files, I'm going to go to Apple Loops. I want to find a riser. Not a rosa, a riser. I just want to make this sort of building tension. A 4-bar one will be good. Let's give that a go. Sounds pretty good. So I just want this. Oh, this is a 2-bar one. Even better. I'll just start to bring this in right before the drop here. Let's see if this works.
Yeah.
Sounds quite good.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like it cuts off a little bit too quick, so I just want to add some kind of a crash cymbal or a bang right on that drop. And then I'm going to go back to the Apple Loops and see if I can find something along those lines. Just going to type in crash for the moment. There was one I found before. That one there, that's not bad. Hold my finger down on it. Pop it there. I don't want it looped, I just want to have it once, and that's a pretty loud sample, so I'm going to bring this down. Let's see whether that works.
Yeah.
Not bad at all. One thing that my ears are telling me is that I feel like there needs to be a little bit more reverb on those drums just to give it a bit more ambience. So I'm going to go to the track controls and go down to the master effects. Just dial that reverb up a little bit. Okay, so we got a nice little track there, and we can easily make this a lot longer by adding more sections like we did at the start and making this a few minutes long. But that's a really high quality beat. You could export the project and boot it up on Mac version of GarageBand. You can even open that in Logic Pro X if you like. Or you can export it straight from your iPhone just by going back to where my songs are. I should probably give that a name. If I hold my finger down on it, I can rename it. I'm going to call this Dark Trap Beat 2. Dark Trap Bear. So if I hit select and select that, I can hit this icon right here. And then I can make that the ringtone on my phone. I can export that as a project so I can open it up on other devices. I'm going to select song here. And I can select either these uncompressed versions or these compressed versions, which are a lot smaller file size. I'm going to select highest quality. This is going to create an M4A, which is Apple's version basically of an MP3 file. And when I hit share, it's going to bring up some options. I can message that to somebody, email it to myself or to somebody else, pop it in my Dropbox, Facebook Messenger. These are dependent on what apps you have installed on your iPhone. I'm going to simply select AirDrop and then send that to my MacBook Pro. So I can just have that as an M4A file and open that up in iTunes. So I hope you enjoyed that tutorial, everybody. I'd love to invite you to be one of the subscribers on my channel. If you have any questions about what I've done here, make sure you pop them in the comments section. I'll leave some links to some of my other free courses on YouTube for GarageBand for the iPhone. I've got a really great beginner's course that gives you everything you need to know to get started. I also have a paid course on Udemy for GarageBand for the Mac, which is a lot more in-depth and will get you some more professional results. I hope you found this content valuable, and I'll see you in the next video.